We're hopefully back this time. Apologies to anyone who was watching a moment ago. My PC just straight crashed. Everything locked up. Probably had a little bit too much going on, uh, my own fault. But we are back, and if anyone's there, we greatly appreciate you for coming and hanging out with us here. Let me go. I need to add a wide receiver to replace DJ Moore for a week. Jordan Addison is one of the must adds this week. I believe one of the must starts. Oh no, am I already? Oh god. Oh, I'm already starting to freeze up a little and bounce here and there. I feel like not a good sign. I've been struggling since the reboot here. Addison's averaging 12 points per game this season. That's 35 among wide receivers. Injured in his first game. He's back in week 4. The Lions have allowed the 4th most points to fantasy wide receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster could be a really big one there too. I think I would take this pick here. Jordan Addison for a week at least. The question is, who do I move him for? Oh yeah, Carson Steele. That's an easy 1-2. Boom. Do I have him on my IR? Okay, yeah, we got Chubb and Nakua on IR. We're still waiting for Jonathan to come back here. Yeah, definitely looks good. McLaurin and up against Carolina. Hopefully should have a big day. Bowers continues. Stephon in the slot could be someone I flex out against Green Bay. Yeah, I'm a flex Jordan there. I feel like that's the better move this week. Not too much moves to make on that. We lost last week by a nail biter, as you can see. Lost to Risky for Trubisky. Lost to him by 6 points. So hopefully we'll catch him this week. But we have actually a second team here on ESPN. This is in our 12-man league. We, of course, beat Dion's daring team last week by a good 20 points or so. But this week we're up against Up, Away. Welcome in, Steve-O. There, I was about to say, Streamlabs not working for some reason, but so let's take a look. This is all under 25 team here. We've got, of course, the Bears on bye, so we've got to make some moves. Ross Johnson, though, was just a move till we got someone else back, like our boy Tank Bigsby here. We can, of course, drop Carson Steele in this league as well, so we're going to go look at the free agent wire and see what's available out here. Yeah, Juwan Jennings, Trey Sermon. Yeah, these are what I expected to be there. Can I find a hidden star here? Ooh, but Tennessee's got a really good run defense. See, and a lot of people are talking, is Tyler Boyd going to get signed somewhere? That could be a big piece. Man, I'm still possibly freezing up here. There's nothing I'm in love with, but there's no point in having. This is tough because there's no point in really having Carson Steele. I could make the move for Juwan, but it's a really packed room over there. Hawkinson? Was Hawkinson on that list and I missed him? He probably is somewhere. I don't know if someone stashed him. That's a good point. Let's go see specifically tight end if he's here anywhere. Let's do a search. DJ Hawk. He is there. Oh, wait, no, he's on a team already. Never mind. Yeah, someone's already got him, so. Let's go ahead and set the lineup first, and then we'll look for an ad here. So Chase Brown, Tanks Bigsby, I like both of those. DJ Moore, we've got to move out of this spot. We'll move Jameson Williams back in there. Xavier Legette, favorable matchup here. Garrett Wilson, I don't care what he says, he'll get a touchdown or so. Seahawks playing Atlanta. I still got faith. I'm pretty good all there. I really want to make a move on Carson Steele now, but I just don't know what the move is. I could maybe make a move on Rossall Johnson. I should probably try to handcuff is what I should try to do here. Can't see the screen. You can't see the screen? I'm about to say it's showing up on mine. Like on StreamYard, everything looks fine. It shows that it's presenting. That's odd. Oh, let's think about this for a minute. Let's go to the running backs. I'm sure someone already got Garendo. Hilaire, like maybe. Didn't Goodson outperform? Yeah. But he's only good till I really want something better. I just don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm hoping I'll just pass the and it'll be like, that's what I've been looking for. I wonder if that's the same Blackshear. I don't think it is. Yeah, there's no. Really, you like Akers? Didn't Akers just get traded? Dude, that's I'm trying to like bump up the size, but like I've already on my ESPN page, I've got the zoom set to 250% to try to get it to the size. That should be a little better. Actually, I should have a there we go. That should be better for everything. Yeah, there's no running backs I'm really in love with depth-wise out here. Cam Akers going to Minnesota. I mean, maybe. Like, I don't buy it. Any wide receivers like Jawan? Not really. Mike Williams hasn't really caught on there. Tutu's not really doing that great. I mean, maybe Jalen Polk's going to have a resurgence with Drake May out there. He's one of the only guys that didn't benefit. I really feel like Tyler Boyd's about to get signed somewhere. Marvin Mims isn't him. Kendrick Bourne, I don't think. Interesting. Very interesting. It makes me think about it. It really does, to be honest. Yeah, there's just nothing I'm really in love with here on any of these options. Back to the Vikings. I know, right? It's just like, Gesicki likely just doesn't see enough. And the thing is, I think, Eric All's actually having better year. Yeah, he's had a decline. I think Theo's finally starting to get. Yeah, we'll add Theo here. I've had Theo on and off my roster across a couple different leagues, but he is trending in the right direction. So we're going to go ahead and add him and call that a day there. Now we get to the fun one. Sleeper fantasy football. Let me zoom this in for y'all. God, of course, it just wants to have that chat in there. How's that look? Probably could be a little bigger. Let's go 200%. There we go. So for those that don't know, we're playing Captain Niner, aka you got a purty mouth. I really appreciate that Captain really puts enough time in to like personally nickname every single one of his guys. Let's see here. But let's go here. My team. So we've got Jared Goff, of course, in the starting lineup. J.K. Dobbins coming across Arizona should have a good one. Aaron Jones is the only one. He's listed as questionable. I really wish I had an injury update on him. I've got NFL Daily up on my side right now. Friday's practice reports may provide some clarity. I know. What are the practice reports? Hold on. Practice reports Vikings. This is so important. Whether he practiced or not. Oh yeah, I need to move StreamYard over here. There we go. Pierce is the only wide. Exactly. He has big upside, and it just depends though if it's Richardson or Flacco back there, honestly. Okay, yeah. I've got a practice report from the Detroit Lions 2 hours ago. Wait, I don't want that one. I want. There we go. 41 minutes ago from the Minnesota Vikings. An updated injury report. It still doesn't. Oh, it does. Friday, Levi. I'm so fucking dumb. All right. Aaron Jones was a limited participant today with a hamstring injury. That's probably a good sign. He went from not participating to light. So I'd say he's probably good to go on that route. So we're going to probably keep Aaron Jones in the lineup. Again, I think Garrett Wilson's still going to be that guy. I actually picked up Chase McLaughlin, the kicker from Tampa, after watching him a little bit. He's hit some pretty good, like deeper shots this year. He's basically almost had a 50-plus yarder in every single game. What's that? And out of 6 games, he's had 4 out of 6 games, he's had a 50-plus yard field goal. Which is what we like to see in a fantasy league that rewards extra long kicks. We made some additions. So, of course, if you actually look here, I've got Will McDonald as my defensive lineman. Robert Spillane, the linebacker out of Las Vegas Raiders. And then, of course, Paulson Adebo as my defensive back. And you might not know those names a little bit, but let's go to the fantasy football numbers here real quick. We're going to go again to linebackers, not just free agents for the season, and total stat numbers. And then of course we're going to sort by fantasy football. If you actually look here, I wish there was a way I could make this even bigger for y'all. Let's try to blow it up a little more. See, it just makes the chat bigger. I don't want the fucking chat there. I wish I could get rid of the chat, but I don't know how to just get rid of the fucking chat. Can I? Goodbye. Go away. But no, it just won't. Anyway, though, it might be a little hard to see here. I wish there was a way I could scroll differently to show this better. Let's go to a different camera angle. You'll see here, Spillane, God dang it, go away, is actually the second fantasy point linebacker at the pure linebacker spot this season. Fred Warner, of course, leading all linebackers with 70 points. But Spillane's seen a lot more defensive snaps, and he's got 66 points. So, again, I'm very happy. I actually was able to pick him up in free agency. Nobody had him. He's one of the leading tacklers in the NFL. That's actually a good point, Steve-O. I should move myself to the other side, and then therefore I can. You gotta love how it why? And see, this is why I don't like fucking StreamYard, because this shit, this is Stupid. Why can I not flip my camera to the other side here? Can I go there? No, that just literally does fucking nothing but text. That's so stupid. Change the shape of the yeah, none of that's so stupid how that works. How I can do the up and down, and then okay, there we go. Wow, you have to go like that. Then it'll flip your camera angle. And then wow, that's fucking wild. That's wild. Save, update layout. And then now, because what that is there's no second person. This is why I don't really like StreamYard that much because it just does a lot of weird stuff like that. And so let's see if I can increase the zoom again. And then just sleepers, not good. It's meant for a phone, but a little better. But yeah, we were able to pick up Spillane in free agency. Then if we go to our defensive backs, and again, same thing, non-free agents. So all defensive backs in the league, stats sorted by fantasy points. Oh no. Am I freezing up again? Okay, no, it's just Debo is technically got an 8-point lead on the next defensive back in the league. And he was a free agent. So if you're playing with individual defensive players and you haven't made these types of additions, I would definitely seek it out. Both of these guys are playing pretty good. Adebo has averaged pretty high. I mean, that's out of 6 weeks. He's got 3 games over 10 points. Basically 4 games at 10 points or higher out of 6. And then kind of the same thing. Spillane is averaging almost 10 tackles a game. So here's his tackle column. 10 tackles, 11 tackles, 11 tackles, 12 tackles, 10 tackles, 8 tackles. He's averaging basically, again, double-digit points for 6 weeks straight. Has had a little bit of dip in the past 2 weeks, but his tackle numbers are there. He's just not getting that extra interception or sack or pass deflection or maybe tackle for a loss or something. But he's playing pretty good football right now. And of course, without the offense playing very well in Las Vegas, the defense is going to see a lot of snaps. So it's just logical that he's going to get a lot of tackles. So we definitely predict that to continue on forward. Looking, of course, at the defensive line points, Van Ginkel is actually leading with 52 points in this category in our league. However, will it 100% continue? This 14 point right here was because he had a pick 6. Is he going to repeat a pick 6? And if you take away that and take away week 1, or you take away the pick 6, he's averaged less than 10 points since week 1 every week at there on out. So Van Ginkel's got an inflated value right now. So then after that, Hutchinson, poor Detroit fans. You might see a little bit of skyrocket on guys like Crosby and stuff like that if they go back. Hey, welcome back, Daniel Barry, Keon White. But, with Will McDonald here, I'm actually sitting at 42. So he's sitting kind of right now, especially after the injury. And if you take Van Ginkel out of that, he's kind of sitting as a top 5, top 7 pass rusher right now, essentially in points. So I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. Garrett Wilson, of course, probably not going to get you those 20 points a week, but he's still probably solid for at least 12 to 15. I may have accidentally already set this lineup, but if you don't know, here's my backup running backs here in the sleeper league. I've got Emmanuel Wilson, the backup running back over there that had some breakout games in Green Bay. I've got Isaac Guerrero. I've got Tank Bigsby. I have Jonathan Brooks still sitting on my pup list. I think I'm going to add more potentially as well here. I've got the Saints decent. So the Saints defense, some people are like, meh, meh, meh. I've only got the Saints defense because Baltimore has a week 14 bye. And if you go to the Saints defense in week 14, they're playing the New York Giants. And I'm hoping that the Giants will feast that week. I really kind of wanted to get Tank Bigsby in here, though. He is a must start. He also returned 3 kickoffs for 102 yards. Of course, Etienne's struggling with a hamstring injury. They don't think he's going to be playing, so he might see one of his biggest games. Oh my god, it's really tough. Like, do I start two different? I really am thinking about moving Garrett Wilson out of here against Pittsburgh, moving James on. I'm like committing atrocities this season. I can't believe they're only predicting Tank's going to have. He's playing New England too. Like, yeah, and I them predicting him 6 points, I think is so under. I think Jacksonville's going to play pretty good. I might be making a huge mistake sitting Garrett Wilson, but they are playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh does have a good secondary. They just traded for Davante Adams. But I mean, he's been so good. Is this the week where I don't play Jameson? They are playing Minnesota. Like, I mean, Jameson has been like carrying me this year. Other than one game, he's had great games every week. I'm so, yeah. And Etienne's been limited today. He's been limited every day. Like Steve-O says, Gibson, Etienne, or Singletary. Ooh. I mean, Tyrone Tracy's slowly gaining over there too. Like, Jason says, who do I start this week? Purdy, Love, Richardson, or May? Ooh. I mean, Purdy's the number one quarterback in the NFL right now, basically. Jason, if we were to consult the PFF power rankings week by week, and this guy's been one of the most accurate guys. Technically, he's finished 11th in accuracy last season, the 5th most accurate in 2021, 2nd in 2020, 3rd in 2019. He's one of 2 analysts with 3 top 5 finishes over the past 5 seasons. Looking at the names on your list in comparison, let's see. Brock Purdy ranking number 8th this week. He's got, where's Jordan Love? Jordan Love ranked 5th. Richardson's ranked 15th. And May is ranked 16th. So based on this, they're still saying to start Jordan Love against that Vikings defense. That's a little scary to me. I feel like I would be way more comfortable with Brock Purdy. I feel like in that game. If I had to take a guess, I love Love, but Brian Flores' defense scares me a little bit. I would stick with Purdy this week, even though technically he is ranked 3 lower on the power rankings for quarterback weekly matchup. But that would be my take on it. Are there any players I want to add in this league real quick? Oh wait, not Russell Wilson. No, not the player I'm looking for. Let's see. Any running backs? Madison's on the sit list. Not really seeing much. Almost every running back's gone at this point, which is how it's supposed to be. Is Estime starting to get some looks? Twice for 13. Oh yeah, I'm making this move. I am gonna stash at this point. Let me see. Hold on, I want to double check actually before I make the move exactly who I'm dropping here. Nope. Well, say is Wilson still making moves? 7 carries. Making a case to hold on to the backup job when Marshawn comes back. As long as Josh Jacobs is healthy, they're going to be playing. Joanu is my backup tight end for when Kyle Pitts goes. Is Cortland Sutton doing anything anymore? I mean, yeah, he's still putting up every once in a while. Like, he provides like variety a little bit here and there. EOC, this could be the guy, but and he's their number 3. This is so tough. I want to add someone else, but Jason says Love is versing the Texans. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know why I thought they were playing. Hold on, let me double check something here real quick. Coverage NFL. Texans are currently ranked the 13th ranked coverage unit in the NFL, while the Chiefs are currently ranked 20th. So technically as well, the coverage rank, it favors Purdy. Let's double check pass rush because that's really important as well. Kansas City's pass rush currently ranked. I don't know why I always have a hard time finding their logo. No one likes them. 3rd. Ooh. Houston's pass rush ranks 16th. So KC's got the better pass rush because Chris Jones. But Houston's got the better coverage unit. That is tough. That is tough. Jordan Addison's a must start this week, too. You know, I would probably actually switch that pick to Jordan Love, actually. I'm not going to lie to you on that. That is my bad on that, Jason, and thank you for correcting me on that. Sam Darnold on those rankings is currently 9th, so 1 behind Brock Purdy. So it's Brock Purdy 8, Sam Darnold 9. So it's a tit for tat. Again, Casey has the better pass rush, but Houston has the better coverage. Devin Singletary is going to mirror somebody, that's for sure, which is probably why Jordan Addison has great upside this week, probably because Singletary is going to follow Jefferson around the field, would be my guess. Is Watson out? I'm not seeing any prop bet for him. Maybe I'm not. I think he's healthy. I'm pretty sure he's healthy, but I know he's a heavy trade target. And actually, guys, stick around because at the end of the fantasy football talk, we're going to talk about trade deadline approaching, what teams are buying and selling, as well as potentially some looking a little ahead at the free agent market for 2025, the early buyer and sellers there as well. But yeah, this team's pretty set. Let's look at some of the matchups here, though. We're supposed to lose to Captain Niner. Captain and Niner, of course, as the name says, if you can't read this name right here, he nicknamed his player, Derrick Henry, stolen from Levi. Because he was literally like 2 picks ahead of me in the fantasy football draft, and he snatched him. Oh, yep, I'm back. My PC crashed, so it took some while. Yeah, Hopkins is one of those guys, and there's a few other guys, like I said, we're going to talk about here. Yeah, we'll look at your team here. Should I pick Juwan Johnson for tight end today? Let's see here. Do you need a tight? Let me go. Before we look at my matchup, let's go find where is. So, of course, Under the Helmet is in this league. Is that you, 49er Media? I mean, that team seems fine. That can't be you. Or are you tigged for the win? Let's see. Yeah, you must be. Which team are you? Okay, got you. Jason says start Donald, Kirk Cousins, or Rodgers. Ooh, everyone said Kirk Cochain's coming out because it's not a 1:00 game. I still kind of like Donald, but let me see. Kirk is playing. Hold on, I already forgot this Atlanta matchup. Atlanta, who are they playing again? Seattle. Ooh, nah. Nah, I'm not taking that. Seattle's defense, they've been dealing with injuries, but if they start getting healthy again, um, they're pretty dang good, actually, especially the back end of that coverage. Um, I'm ooh, but Rodgers, who are the Jets playing? Who are the Jets? Ooh, they're playing Pittsburgh. Nah, I'm still starting Darnold on that. I'm still starting Darnold, Jason. All right, let's see. So we got under the helmets in here. Team Tig for the win. So he's got Joe Burrow. He's predicted to win by. Okay, so you got points. Eckler, Chase, Cup, Theo Johnson. Okay, and Theo's starting to see. Theo's that Penn State rookie. They wanted Theo to be tight end number 2 behind Darren Waller coming into the season. Darren Waller's sudden retirement really messed with their plans on offense this year. I think they were really excited to run some 2 tight end sets with Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy in the backfield. He had really high targets early in the season and then disappeared, but it looks like he's finally getting back into the fold there. Pittman. So, okay, so you're looking for a kicker this week for sure. Maybe an upgrade at tight end. But I mean, Philadelphia is actually, we're going to talk about Philadelphia is one of those guys that's actually looking for a linebacker potentially at the trade deadline. And there's one guy we're going to talk about. So Theo actually might have a good week against that tight end or the linebacking group of the Eagles. Denver D going against New Orleans. Oh, you got Chris Jones. Nice, my guy. Nice. Oh, and you got 2 of the better. So under the helmet, it's actually got 2 of the better defensive players here. Fred Warner is the number 1 linebacker currently in fantasy football in our league, and Jordan Love, I'm pretty sure, is one of the top 10 defensive backs as well, playing really good football here. So DJ Moore on a bye week. Conklin, the tight end for the Jets, questionable. Jacoby Myers. Jacoby's going to see a huge bump in his numbers. Huge, as long as Aiden O'Connell can get the ball off. Christian Watson. Okay. I mean, and you have an open bench spot. Okay. So you're looking to add something. I mean, maybe an upgrade at tight end just because you're not getting those consistent performers, but let me see here. You've got some pretty damn good wide receivers, that's for sure. Everyone in the league, though's got issues at running back. Do you still have faith in Pittman? That's tough, my guy. He's had some really good weeks the past 3 weeks. He's back full participant. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, like he's a solid number 1 wide receiver. Like I said, you're pretty stacked at wide receiver, honestly. And your running backs, while they're not outstanding, they're very dependable guys, in my opinion. Ooh, Jacoby over Pittman? Miami's trash. At least right now with no quarterback. Who's Oakland playing? The Rams. Oh, that's so tough. Because in both situations, so in the situation of Pittman, I could see the Colts getting up early and then just turning into running the ball, basically. Let's see, his cutback limited in practice on Wednesday. He's supposedly trending the right way to be back for Sunday's game. So that's a good sign for you. They're playing Philly, though. Darius Slay's are actually not playing too bad coverage-wise. Yeah, you've got some hard questions to match up here. And if they do bring Cup, they're probably going to ease him back in. Man, they've got him predicted for 15 points coming back. I mean, he could, but oh wait, no, Cup's playing Vegas. Okay. I do like Cup if he's trending the right way. the Jacoby versus Pittman thing. Like I said, I could see Indy getting up and just turning this over to, but also, is Jonathan Taylor coming back this week? I don't think he is. Is he? If Jonathan Taylor's back, I see this game going that way. Let's see. 2 hours ago, injury update. Let's practice. Colts practice report. 2 hours ago. That's what I want to see. Alex Pierce missed practice day with a shoulder injury. Downs, Kelly were limited. Pittman, full participant. Trey Sermon was limited. I really hope they pull Evan Hull up. That's what I really want to see from them, is them to pull Evan Hull up from the practice squad. Is Jonathan Taylor healthy for that game? There's another way I can check this. Give me one moment. My apologies. I'm sorry it's taken me a minute to get to it. So he's questionable. I just didn't see him on the practice or injury report. That's why I'm like a little confused. Oh, I just closed a window I didn't want to close. Colts injury report. 2 hours ago. So Jonathan Taylor did not participate Wednesday. Thursday, he was limited. They say, though, his status for Sunday does not look promising. So probably no Jonathan. Steve-O says Taylor's back. So he's limited, but one of the Colts writers says that he's not looking good. That's I don't know about that. That's tough. But Jacoby, though, with no Davante Adams, Aiden McConnell gonna get the start. I think there's potential now. He's now basically, if I'm not mistaken, wide receiver number 1 on that roster, basically. So we're going to see a lot of him and Brock Bowers, basically. It might just be one of those ones, there's nowhere else to go with the ball. So Jacoby might see a lot of targets. He works in the slot usually. I don't know if he will continue to work in the slot for them. Basically, he took Hunter Renfro's job. So I don't know. Steve-O said, McAfee lied to me. Yeah, like I said, I just read directly from the report, from the Colts injury report. As of Thursday, he's limited, but they said, hold on, let me actually get the source on that. Colts. Nope, I don't want practice report. I want the injury report. Yeah, so 14 minutes ago, A to Z Sports. We've got Horseshoe Heroes also saying that. And then 2 hours ago, actually, Sports Illustrated is the one that said he is does not look good. So even Sports Illustrated is saying Jonathan Taylor, while being limited today, does not look good. Under the helmet says, I just put Cup in there for now. Yeah, worst case, if Cup, if like last minute you get that notification that he's a no-go and you need to change him out of the lineup, Pittman probably wouldn't be a bad option. Actually, I think Christian Watson's back, isn't he? He was limited on Thursday. He seems likely to play. And, of course, with Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, like it's saying here on my right side where my camera's covering, might not play. Christian Watson against Houston might have some big high potential as well. Again, depends if Devin Singletary's on him. Where's Devin, basically, in that matchup? That'll be interesting to keep an eye on. But, yeah, you're not too bad of a situation there. Yeah, and like Steve-O said, Stafford had a bad back, and Cup will be on a snap count. Absolutely, Steve-O, and that's why I'm a little worried about Cup. It's like he could be full cleared and come out there, and because they need him to be that guy, it just I wonder how I wish I could watch how he did in practice, like how he was moving. Was he moving at like full speed at practice, or was he kind of you could still like put that little, under the helmet says I put waivers on Fairbank because Santos is on bye. Oh yeah, I absolutely would as well. That's actually kind of what I did. I had Dickers, the kicker for LA, which wasn't doing me bad. He's actually still one of the better kickers. But actually, I decided I had to drop him for a bye week, and I picked up Tampa's kicker. And then just looking at the numbers, looking at the schedule, things like that, and how the season's unfolding, I was like, you know what? Tampa really is willing to give this guy the long kick attempts. They're willing to give him the 60-yarder attempt. And if that's the type of kicker that I want on my fantasy team. Like I said, 4 out of 6 weeks, he's had a 50-plus yarder field goal attempt, which is always what you want to see. Yeah, and like Steve, the Ram seasons. Yeah, and especially that's why I actually last night on Corey Davis lockdown picks, I mentioned now that technically he's not on the injured list, which makes him now trade eligible, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams thought about moving Cup. He's a veteran guy. He's given everything to the Rams. The Rams are clearly not going to be contenders this year with all the injuries that happened. Just like Stafford was in those same talks, to go to the Dolphins. I think Cup could be a really good trade target for one of these teams that's still looking for a wide receiver piece. He's a veteran guy. He can play all the positions. And of course, at this point, they're starting to give guys like Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington. They're giving these younger guys the chance to grow, and that's if you're not going to the Super Bowl, that's what your season's about. Your season's about playing good football while getting the young guys reps and getting them a chance to learn and grow. You know what I mean? Like of course, I've got up here on the screen. It might be a little hard to see. These are the top trending available players, maybe in fantasy football right now. Bub Means, 18% rostered. He's seen a 373,000 increase. Sean Tucker, the running back for Tampa Bay, number 2. Ernest Johnson, number 3 on this list, the running back for Jacksonville. Brandon McManus just signed to Green Bay. One of the new kickers. Don't add him. Don't add him. And then Jerry Jeudy, one of the quick ads as well. Saints defense, 6th on that list as well. And another guy rostered on 0%, but somehow has a 99,000% or increase. Mason Tipton, the 5'11", 187-pound Yale wide receiver rookie. He had 4 targets in week 5. I mean, so he's starting to see some more targets, maybe. Some people are probably really deep leagues or taking a shot on him there. Sebastian says, let's see. Hold on. Sorry. We'll get to that in just a sec. I list Casey kicker for Tampa kicker, and I'm okay with that despite schedule. Sebastian says, my running backs are Kyron Williams, Dobbins, Brian Robinson, and my wide receivers are Jettis, London, and Dell. Should I trade Brock Purdy, Jonathan Brooks, and Pittman for Jalen Hurts, Christian Kirk, full PPR 12-man league? Ooh. So should I trade Brock Purdy 4? So you have Purdy, Brooks, and Pittman. So you're basically what you're saying is you don't really need Jonathan Brooks. You took the shot on him, probably held on to IR so you can use him as bait with coming back. So I'm guessing you probably have a pretty good quarterback. Brock Purdy might have been your second quarterback, but of course he's playing really good football as well. And then Pittman, who's up and down, had 3 really good weeks. Definitely, if you are going to trade Pittman in a trade, he's at the absolute max value he's probably had in weeks. So you're trying to add Jalen Hurts and Christian Kirk? I'm not a big Christian Kirk fan. Let me double check here. Maybe I'm wrong. So, wide receiver, non-free agents. I mean, he's had 3 big games against Buffalo, Houston, and Indy. I mean, the thing is Brian Thomas has been taking some of the reps from him. He's got a really good matchup this week. He's got some pretty good matchups coming forward as well. I don't see a lot of sense in the trade. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, unless Jalen Hurts is your quarterback and you're adding Brock Purdy, then if you have Brock Purdy, Jonathan Brooks, and Pittman, I don't make that trade. If you have Christian Kirk and Hurts and you want those other 3, yeah, I make that trade. But I think Hurdy, Brooks, and Pittman have the same, if not better value, of course, than the other 2 of that league, Sebastian. So if you have Purdy and Brooks, don't make the trade. If you have Hurts and Christian, yeah, make the trade. I lost the KC kicker for Tampa kicker. Oh yeah, and exactly. Tampa's kicker. Like I said, honestly, when I watched one of their games and I saw that they were willing to give him those long kicks, like, ooh. So Turtles start Nick Chubb or Tyrone Tracy Jr. Is Nick Chubb finally making the comeback this week? Is this his week? Workload is still at work. And see, the thing is this, the Browns aren't playing for a lot, so I don't know if Nick Chubb will really see it. And for those that don't know, I actually had to tweet out at Brian Baldinger was on NFL Daily earlier, and he was like, who would have ever called Tyrone Tracy at the beginning of the season? I tweeted out at him. I said, raise his hand. I said, I called it. You can actually go back and check my tweets, Mr. Baldinger. I said early in the draft process that this was a good young man running the football. I think I saw a lot of Isaiah Pacheco in him, that he ran like he was angry at the ground. And Tyrone Tracy was one of my bold bets before the beginning of the season start. And you can go ask our boy Spongy. I predicted at beginning of the season that guys like Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Chase Brown and possibly Tank Bigsby as well, because last year, and I really wanted Tyjae Spears to be in there, but Pollard's coming out there and playing pretty well. But these were a lot of guys that I said are going to win the starting running back job before the end of the year, especially if they're trying to, go towards the youth. So for those that don't know, Tracy carried the ball 17 times for 50 yards and got a touchdown while adding 6 catches for 57 yards in the Bengals week 6. I'm a huge Tracy fan. He's looked better than Devin Singletary, which is what I've been saying. Devin Singletary just hasn't been playing really bad football. But Tracy is definitely the guy that should be getting the attention going forward. It's just tough. They've got him listed number 1 on the rep depth chart. I think Chubb's going to have managed reps. I would take Tracy. I think he also has better goal line potential than Devin does. So Steve-O said Ford is out as well. I think they're saying they're going to rely on Carson Strong. Ooh, start Geno or Cousins? That's a tough one, actually. So of course, Kirk Cousins is playing. Oh my God, who was against Seattle? I don't like that matchup as much. Let me double check something here. How these defenses looking. So Seattle currently ranked 15th. Atlanta ranked 18th. If I had to start Geno or Kirk, I really think I'm going to start Geno. That might be wild. No, you got to start Kirk. It's so tough. Just Seattle's dealing with so many injuries. I feel like it really depends on going to the injury report. Seahawks injury reports. Let's see if we can get the most up-to-date one. No, I don't want 23 hours ago. I want 2 hours ago. There we go. Falcons are going to give it to me. So Falcons Thursday. Bijan was limited. Jeff Simmons was limited. Yeah, what's sad is Judon is not getting any pass rush for them over there, apparently. What's crazy is it doesn't look like the Seahawks have put out a Thursday practice report yet, which is a little wild. Come on, Seahawks. What's going on? 23, 23, 23. Huh. The Seattle Seahawks have not put out their Thursday practice report yet. That's actually highly interesting, in my opinion. Steve-O says Cousins all day. Chris Bird says need 2 flex options. I have Juju, Courtland Sutton, Jordan Mason, Rachaad White, and Ty Chandler. Ooh, those are some good picks. So, by the way, let's actually address Juju must start. You absolutely have to start Juju in this. Let's talk about him. He's one of the PFF's must starts of the week. Juju has played at least 50% of the Chiefs' offensive snaps in the last 3 games. With Rashee Rice out due to injury, his playing time has jumped to 67% in Week 5, where, of course, he caught 7 passes for 130 yards in that game. He's essentially now the Chiefs' leading wide receiver, and Justin Watson, who is the other starting receiver, has the 3rd lowest target rate at the position over the past 3 seasons. Xavier Worthy has yet to catch more than 3 passes in a game, as he's used for specific deep throws and passes behind the line of scrimmage. So he's very package specific right now. Juju is an absolute must start right now in leagues. They're playing the San Francisco 49ers, who have a pretty good coverage unit, but they haven't been playing their best. They've allowed Tutu Atwell, Alan Lazard, and Michael Wilson to record 70-plus yard games against them. Juju should have a pretty favorable matchup against this. It's not the best matchup, but it's not a horrible matchup either. Of course, receiving yards after catch per reception over the last 3 seasons, Deebo Samuels leads that category, but actually Juju Smith-Schuster in the top 10, about dead middle, averaging more than 5 yards per reception after the catch. So that's pretty good numbers there. So I definitely, Juju's the number 1 guy. After that, I don't trust Rachaad White, Ty Chandler. I think Aaron Jones is. I weirdly almost think Courtland Sutton's the pick there. Let me see. They're playing New Orleans. Let's go to the wider. Let's go to our trusty power rankings for list. So going down this list, looking for some of the names we're talking about here. So is Courtland Sutton even on this list right now? He's got to be. So Juju Smith-Schuster is ranked 31st on the power ranking list of this week, which I'd say is still pretty good. He's basically, he's only behind like really big name guys. Like Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Tank Dell, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brandon Ayuk. He's at kind of the list of, just like Jordan Addison, the start of those next tier guys. Let's check the running back power rankings. Jordan Mason against the Chiefs, 13th. They just might have to pass the ball a little more. Bucky Irving's ranked 30th, while Rachaad White's 36th. So definitely not going to go Rachaad White. Ty Chandler, 41st on this list. So if you're going to start, you're better off starting Jordan Mason over those 2 guys. I did not see Sutton on that list for wide receivers. Is he not considered? Okay, Courtland Sutton's actually 42nd on the list on the wide receivers. So, pretty good. He's 10 spots behind Juju, essentially. So if you're going on the, I would start Juju, and then it's between Sutton or Jordan Mason on this. Maybe pay attention to the injury reports. Just Jordan Mason, or Chris Jones is an absolute nightmare in the middle of that Chiefs defensive line, and I would be just a little wary of it, even though basically, I talked about this for the 49ers on last night's stream. If the game plan, if I'm running for the 49ers, is find Travis Jones and run the opposite way, or Chris Jones. I'm sorry, the Ravens have a player named Travis Jones who's a D tackle who's playing outstanding, so I keep calling Chris Jones Travis Jones. But that's the game plan if I'm the 49ers. Identify wherever Chris Jones is at, run the opposite way. Literally as simple as that. Steve-O said Mason is limited. Yeah, so I would maybe just take that chance on Courtland Sutton. I actually have here on my team, actually. We'll go and pull him up. I have Courtland Sutton on my team. So, of course, Courtland has had some up and downs. He's had, out of 6 weeks, he's had 3 out of 6 weeks where he went for double digits. That's solid. He's seeing massive targets, at least early. His targets have decreased over the past 3 weeks. But still, even with limited targets, he's putting up numbers. He's outside the top 50 receivers in terms of fantasy points per game through 6 weeks, but he could add some nice value in week 7 on a Thursday matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Sutton scored a touchdown, his second touchdown of the season against the division rival Chargers, and was able to go over 40 or 50 yards for the third time this year. Sutton is tied with DJ Moore for 13th among all wideouts for targets, and he's clearly their number one, and he's gaining chemistry. The Saints defense has allowed the 6th most half PPR points per game to opposing wideouts in the past 3 weeks. Sutton is a wide receiver for flex and has with upside for Thursday night matchup. With that being said, I would go with Sutton or Courtland Sutton and Juju, Chris, for that matchup. Just Chris Jones in the middle of that defense with Jordan Mason being injured. Bucky Irving is starting to look like the better back. And that's another guy that I predicted to win the running back job before the end of the season. I knew I was forgetting somebody else. And it's looking like that's going to happen. And Ty Chandler's, competing the here and there. So that's my thing. Welcome in, by the way, Kenny. Let's see. Armando Zapeta says RB2 half PPR. Mozart, Tracy, White, or Algier, or drop one for Chandler. I mean, Tyrone looking like he's slowly gaining the faith of that team. I think he's at least got potential for a touchdown. Oh, wait. No, hold on, though. Hold up. Drop everything for a minute. Is Raheem Mozart making his return? He made his return last week. Oh, my gosh. What am I even thinking? I didn't even think about that. And, of course, Davante Kane had a concussion. That's kind of big in my opinion. That changes everything on your pick. They've still got Davante Kane linked at 22 on the depth chart or power rankings. Mozart 37. But Mozart had pretty good carries. Miami, of course, playing against Indianapolis. Indianapolis coming into this game. Let's look at run defense. Where are they at? The Colts. Always have a hard time. 12. Not bad. That's tough. Let me check my must-sits, must-starts. And, of course, one of the must-starts this week is Tank Bigsby, which is why I keep telling people to avoid Etienne. I think RB2 in that situation, I got to go with Mozart. I think he's going to see some goal line carries, the concussion injury problem with a cane. That's for Armando. My apologies, Armando. I would take Mozart for that RB2. And no worries, Kenny, no worry. Bucky is sharing carries with 2 other running backs. So exactly, but I think he's got good upside. But I would definitely take Mozart in that. So must start quarterbacks for the week, by the way. Let's see. Yep. Oh, Kenny says he'd go with Tracy, which Tracy is on the uprise right now. So must starts quarterback for the week. Sam Darnold, the number one must start quarterback according to PPF. Most passing fantasy points per attempt. Of course, the New York Jets. He's played much better against man defenses than zone defenses this season. 68 against man, 59 against zone. Detroit Lions run zone coverage at the 5th highest rate in the NFL. Baker Mayfield, a must start against my Ravens. And then Brock Purdy, a must start against the Chiefs, according to them. Must sits are Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Richardson, and Aaron Rodgers. Tony says, I have a trade offer on the table. I get Jonathan Taylor and DK Metcalf for Baker Mayfield, Ferguson, which I'm guessing that's the tight end, and Connors. I have another offer for Baker, Monty, for Evans, Robinson, and Eckler. Which is a better deal? Standard league. I have Lamar. Ooh, Jonathan Taylor, DK for Baker, Ferguson, and Connors. Ooh, I really like that first offer a lot. I have another offer for Baker and Monty for Evans, Robinson, and Eckler. Evans, Robinson, Eckler. Brian Robinson's coming back from Baker, Monty. Ooh, that's tough. I kind of like the Robinson. Are you talking like Wandale Robinson, Brian Robinson Jr.? Would be interesting. I'm guessing maybe it's Brian Robinson Jr. because they'd have to offer you a running back like in the first deal, probably a wide receiver running back combo. So if it's Evan and Brian Robertson versus Jonathan Taylor and DK. See, the problem that's going on with the Seattle Seahawks right now is the right side of Brian Rob. Oh, okay. So yeah, that is a tough trade. I think either way you should take the trade, but for which one? Let me think here. Hold on. Strength of schedule remaining NFL. I'm going to look here. So I've got a stat pulled up here, the remaining schedule strength across the NFL. So the Chicago Bears have one of the hardest remaining schedules with 2 games just based upon the records of teams that they're playing against right now. So let's look specifically here at the Colts. We're going to look at the running back aspect of this. So the Colts versus the Commanders. So Commanders have 20th. Colts have... I always have a hard time finding the Colts, man. 19. So they're neck and neck here. Let's see. Toughest opponents. Easiest opponents. Washington, though, has such a bad... See, the thing is this. Washington can score points, but they have a bad defense. They need to make a move at the trade deadline to shore up their defense. Indy, though, just is so wishy-washy. But the thing is, they're not really out of their division. But Brian Robinson's, when he's healthy, he would, of course, miss last week, but he's averaging like 6 yards a carry. He's an absolute monster. So then if we look at the wide receiver side, DK versus Mike Evans. I definitely think Evans is the better guy on that side of the trade just because of how... Man, that's rough. And you get Brian Robinson's backup. I weirdly think I would take that second trade there, Tony, just because. So here's my reasoning. Jonathan Taylor and Brian Robinson, both strength of schedule-wise, pretty even for the rest of the schedule. I do kind of they're both going to be competitive for their division, but of course, Washington's going to be in it probably a little more and has a little more consistency what's going on. I do like also that you get your immediate backup for Robinson if there is an injury in the trade as well. So then when we look at the wide receiver aspect, Tampa, of course, is being one of the better top 10 offenses in the NFL right now. Um, uh, Godwin and Evans being a dynamic duo. The reason I give Evans the advantage over DK is just the problems on the right side of the Seattle Seahawks line with the injury to Fant, their right tackle, and Bradford not developing in the second year is becoming evident. And they're starting to have some issues with it. Whereas also the running game is pretty good in Seattle, while in Tampa they're switching people out. So I think I would take the second trade, Tony, by the way. Kenny says, I like to start my studs regardless of matchups. And yeah, Tony, yep, it's Brian Robinson. Yep, okay. Tony says, I really don't like giving away Monty in my big thing. I feel like Monty is underranked. Monty, hold on. I got to make sure I'm like, who are we talking about? Because my brain's like, are you talking about David Montgomery, the running back? I think that's who you're talking about because Baker and Monty. Because it looks like people want Baker and a running back from you. Yeah, if you're talking about David Montgomery, I mean, he's put up really good games, though. Yeah, I wouldn't trade David Montgomery, though, is the problem in that trade. I would do Connors. I wouldn't do Montgomery in the trade. Yeah, Montgomery's putting up too good of numbers to be included in that trade. Connors, all day. I would put Connors in the trade, but I'm not giving up Montgomery in that trade, too, because Montgomery's putting up top fantasy numbers right now. Let's see here. If we go to running backs on the sleeper, take away free agents, season, stats, of course, take the name out. And we pull total fantasy points. I mean, Kamara and Henry are breakaway, both have over 140. So if we take them as outliers, Henry and Kamara consider them outliers, right? So it's Barkley and 110 down right now. Like David Montgomery is essentially, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th running back right now. No way in hell I'm trading David Montgomery. Yeah, no way in hell. So yeah, I'm sorry. Walk that back. If David Montgomery is in that trade, not making it. Connor Williams is a pretty high fantasy football back as well. But Detroit's got one of the hardest schedules left in the NFL as well. Arizona 26, so could bode well for Arizona here at the end of the season potentially. And of course, he's dealing with an ankle injury. I've always steered away from James Conner, and it's usually done me pretty well. This is one of the few years where it's kind of biting me in the butt in a little bit, but Kenny says a lot of mouths to feed in Detroit. You're not wrong though, but he's still getting them fantasy points. The defense to adjust, but it's kind of like what the Ravens are doing. There's just so many options that it's almost hard to stop it all. Oh, what's funny is we'll actually address here the 49ers might be looking at some trade moves here potentially. Tony says the guy I'm trading with has Mike Evans as his wide receiver 5. Dude has Brown, Godwin, and Debo on top of Mike. My God. Yeah, he's dangling Mike Evans. He basically every week just gets to decide which one of the two he puts in. And he has JJ. God, my God, he cornered the wide receiver market in your league. Yeah, he don't need no wide receiver help. Don't forget Stibbs didn't start the season healthy. Connors will likely get hurt. Yeah, I mean, I can only. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel you on that. I'm just, man, I got to actually look. Let's look here. I got one more lineup to look at, and then we'll get into some trade and free agent rumors. Of course, I've got like stuff pulled up. So I, of course, took over a team that drafted 3 kickers, aka Team 3 Kickers. I've got to do everything through my phone technically to do this. So, of course, we continue taking running backs like Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen off the board, Ray Davis, Damian Pierce. We got a lot of guys here. Let me see here, though. So we got to go set this lineup. Gosh, Trevor Lawrence. But we've got Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold, of course, I think they had a bye week. Was last week? No. Maybe they did. My team. So we're going to start making the adjustments on this team. Yes, I know I have a player on IR that's no longer eligible for IR, and I have to get him off. Move him to the bench for a second. All right. So this team, though, the one bonus is they took 3 tight ends as well. So I have Travis Kelce, Kittle, and then I also have TJ Hawkinson on my IR. So I've been abusing starting multiple tight ends nonstop. So we're going to make this first move. We're going to move Trevor Lawrence out of our starting quarterback position here. If it'll let me. It's like not recognizing that I'm clicking on the bench spot. Maybe I need to drop a player, and that's what's going on. Players. That's probably what's going on. It probably won't let me do anything till I... who should I drop? Who should I drop? Ezekiel Elliott's not doing shit, I don't think. Game log. I got to figure out who to drop here. I think it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. He hasn't been doing shit for me. Let's drop him. I think that's what I need to do. My team's yelling at me that I have to drop someone before I can make any moves. Yeah, I know I made a move. So now can I move my quarterback? Thank God. So make that move. Sam Darnold moves into the starting lineup. As for running backs here, Damian Pierce should get a favorable matchup here. We're going to slide him in there instead of Braylon Allen to start. So, of course, Damian Pierce scored a 55-yard touchdown. He put up 20 points last week. But, of course, Pierce reclaimed his lead role, but we're hoping we'll see a little bit more of him. Bucky Irving, let's see. So Bucky on Sleeper is now considered the number 1 running back on the depth chart. And like I said, it opened the door. He got his first career start, and he responded with 105 total yards and a touchdown on 64% snap shared. It was ultimately Tucker who stole the show with 192 yards and 2 scores on 38 snaps. But he's the better passing down guy, so you're going to see him more. But Bucky, we'll see, right? He's probably going to see some good snaps over Rashad, which is what we're hoping for. We got to make a couple more moves. It's hard to predict who I want to start there at running back. I've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire also out there as well. Man. We got to get Travis Kelce back here in the starting lineup. So we will have Kittle starting at tight end with Kelce as the flex option here. That'll give us a lot of really good points. Bucky Irving, Damian Pierce, T. Higgins, and Tyler Lockett. Is that what we want to start at wide receiver? I've got to find a bye week guy too for Ray McLeod or Darnell Mooney. 11 and 10. I mean, they're still predicted to get less than, so we're good on those matchups. I do need to find, though, it looks like I have a guy on, Trent Edwards. So I need to find a linebacker, actually, for that team. So let's go take a look here at individual defensive players that are considered linebackers, stats, season, and free agents will keep on. And then we'll actually go to our individual things, which I think has defensive players. Might not. No, it has team defense. I don't have the wait, where'd my must starts? There we go. I have must starts, and it has individual defensive players. No, it doesn't. Man, this Bullshit. Sorry, I missed some of the comments. My apologies here, guys. I'm so sorry. I missed a lot of comments. My gosh. That's what I had to do looking at my phone here. Tony says, I'm almost scared to give this guy a quarterback. He has Geno. And that, honestly, if he's losing games because he doesn't have a quarterback, Tony, it might be better just to hold on to what you got and ride with it. You don't really need to make too many upgrades, it looks like. And if it would put him in a position to turn the league around, might want to be wary of it. Yeah, do team make him better, your league will hate you. Yeah. Steve-O says, I dropped Fields for Danny Dimes and starting Lawrence. Wow. Steve-O having to make some big quarterback moves right now. Yeah, even though Wilson's the starter, Kenny says, hold on to Fields. Tony says, I'm rocking with Ferguson, Baker, Connards for Jonathan Taylor and DK, I think. I'll have Terry, Puka, CD, DK as a wide receiver core. Kyron, Monty, Jay Taylor, Tracy's run. Titan Corby. Oh, yeah, you're set, man. Hawkinson's coming back. Laporta, I don't know how. Did he go to IR or is he still just dealing with injury? I know he was injured at one point, though. Keeney says you should send Drake May and Bo next. Ooh, I mean, Drake May, he's going to they're going to let him take his lumps. So Drake and Bo have great matchups until the playoff weeks. You're not wrong on that, though. Let's see. I like these picks. I know, right? But let me see here. Back to what I was. So I got to find a player, an individual defensive player, a linebacker. Zach Bond's not. I could pick up Zach Bond, but I know Spongy's. Dude, Sponge would murder me. He was so happy I dropped Zach Bond from my other team for Spillane. And I 100% know he's probably put a waiver in there. And there's a small chance that I could steal him for 1 week. Or at least try to. You know what, though? Ivan Pace, he's finally coming back healthy. He missed 2 weeks and then had a bye week. That's definitely the pick. It's not even close. Pace is probably going to be at least my 1 week guy. Let me go make the move on my phone real quick. Available. God, I'm so sad I have to do this all on my phone. Later, Kenny. Have a good one, by the way, my guy. Appreciate you dropping in. I know I didn't have anyone else come and join us on the channel this week. Little unusual compared to our normal. Your roster is full. Please choose someone to drop. We're going to drop Jalen Tolbert. Confirm. I still would love to make a running back move on that team. I might put out some trade offers here later. But all right, before we get out of here, we're going to finish up the must starts, must sits. Moving to our running back must starts: Tank Bigsby, Kareem Hunt, and Chase Brown. Chase Brown's finally getting that lead back chance over there in Cincinnati, and he's making the most out of it. Must sits: Javonte Williams of the Broncos, Zach Moss of the Bengals, and Alexander Madison of the Raiders. I would not be surprised if the Raiders start giving my boy Dylan Lobb a chance. Must start: Juju Smith-Schuster at wide receiver, Josh Downs, and Jordan Addison. While at the must sit, Michael Pittman Jr. this week, Cortland Sutton, and Calvin Ridley. So we talked about Sutton being a start potentially. But I guess the stat is they've only given up a touchdown on only 2.3% of passing attempts against them. That's the third lowest rate in the NFL. So might want to be wary of that. Tony says Laporta has a mystery injury. No way he's healthy and performing as poorly as he is. And yeah, I saw him go down to injury at the beginning of the year, and then I don't know. Must start tight ends: David Njoku, Evan Ingram, and Tucker Kraft. Must sits: Pat Freiermuth, Isaiah Likely, and Tyler Conklin. So might keep an eye out for those. Let me get back here to NFL. Wait. Route-based heroes. Ooh, we got to take a look at that, actually. Now I got a few other things I got to look into now here. That's one of the articles I wanted to discuss. Where was that other? Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay. Cool. So Calvin Ridley, Jalen Polk stand out as super regression candidates if their quarterbacks can't get the ball. Of course, Amari Cooper with a new QB, high upside. Modeling. This is all just explaining the numbers. I wanted better. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all those numbers for y'all. It's way too much to just sit there and just start spewing numbers here. PFF grades and data, key insights for every week 7 game. The blitz-heavy team Broncos have sent 6 or more rushers on 11.6% of pass rush snaps, the third highest rate in the league. So Denver is blitzing early and often. Good to know. Oh, look at this. Got all these great stats here on every game. Is there any game any of y'all are looking for specifically here? Because I've got a little bit of everything. That's some good information here. But all right, let's talk about the trade deadline because that's easy here. So Arizona Cardinals, they are considered a hold. They pass rusher could help, but they'll ramp up. Atlanta Falcons, technically buyers. Atlanta has the 3rd worst team pressure rate in the NFL, despite trading for Judon. Everyone's saying that they should have traded for Josh Uche, who's a free agent for the Patriots. He's had an 18.5% pass rush or pressure rate this season. That's 12th among edge defenders. They have the Baltimore Ravens holding. Of course, the Buffalo Bills as a buyer, and of course, they did make their move. Of course, going getting Amari Cooper from the Browns, which was a great move. They could be still working on it a little bit. Carolina Panthers are considered sellers. They've got a little bit of pieces that they might be able to ship off here and there. Bears are considered holders. Their defense is finally starting to come together here. Kevin Beard, Jalen Johnson playing some really good football over there. Elias says, I got a super ugly question. I got to start either Rattler or Huntley. Who would you pick? Ooh, that is a great question, by the way. Of course, Miami and the Dolphins, they're taking on Indianapolis. Denver taking on the Saints. I'm sorry, the Broncos. Purely, if we had to look at let's see if the power rankings have these. So looking at PFF's pure power rankings for matchups this week, Rattler ranked 28th. Is Huntley even listed on this chart? Huntley not even listed. I think I definitely would start Rattler. I think he's got higher potential. He was known for scrambling in college. He brings good scrambling potential. He's just younger, a little more spry. I definitely would. If you had to make that choice, I'm starting Rattler, Elias, for you. What up, Captain? I'm playing, for those that don't know, Jason Captain Niner Massey here in the chat is who I'm playing in fantasy football this week. He is predicted to beat me by about 20, or was that 17, 18 points? 17.99 points is what he's predicted. I'm 2-4. Captain's 4-2. A lot because he stole Derrick Henry from me. But, that's how draft goes. You got to be prepared and ready to make those adjustments. One of the sellers, though, so of course we already know the Browns are in sell mode. We saw Amari Cooper go to the Bills, but 2 other guys to keep an eye on from the Browns: Zadarius Smith, the edge rusher, could be an edge guy that leaves the Browns. Shelby Harris as well, another candidate. They've got the Dallas Cowboys selling right now. DeMarcus Lawrence could be a trade asset for them here at the deadline. The Broncos are considered buyers at this point. They need some tight end help for their young rookie quarterback. Jordan Atkins, who's caught 12 of his 13 targets this season, could be a candidate there. The Lions are looking for a pass rusher with, Aiden Hutchinson's injury. Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals or Max Crosby. And, of course, Hassan Reddick are the big names we're hearing come up there. The Packers, interesting. Supposedly, they could be looking for a wide receiver on the trade deadline. They're having a little bit of injury issues here and there. I've heard DeAndre Hopkins mentioned in that conversation as well. And DeAndre with Jordan Love would be such a good one. Jason says, "You mean you lose in this league? I would literally shit my pants if we traded for Garrett." And yes, I know it's not going to happen. Oh, I know, right? Like, my God. And the Niners are one of those guys that they could be looking at edge. They've been talking a lot about it on NFL Daily today, basically just talking about how the Niners defensive line has kind of taken a step back from last year, other than Bosa being the lone exception. Hargrave, of course, now on IR, but he wasn't even playing that well before, if I'm not mistaken. At least according to PFF, he wasn't. And I know y'all have got a young, I think, undrafted guy that's playing pretty well right now that y'all are excited about. Might be cracking into that starting lineup. Definitely something to keep an eye on for the 49ers. Joffy Play says, "I traded for Amari. I have Henry, Walker, and Chuba. Did I win?" Oh, you won, Joffrey. And that's any of these guys that are high trade cans. Amari, oh my God, Amari. See, people were like, Amari fantasy bust. Amari was at one of the games for the Browns, had 12 targets. 12. But Cleveland and Deshaun Watson led the league in uncatchable targets. Meaning, even though they were targeted towards Amari, he had no chance of getting that ball. I think Keon Coleman and the Buffalo Bills wide receiver core really needed someone to. Keon's not ready as a rookie to come in and be wide receiver one. There's not very many rookies that are able and ready to come in day one as a rookie and be that number one guy. It doesn't work usually in the NFL. So bringing in Amari, allowing Keon to move to wide receiver 2, and Khalil Shakir to truly sit in the slot like he should be, and then play those 2 tight end sets is going to be night and day. You won for sure on that one, my boy. Mad Max says, "Would you send Chase Brown and Tyrone Tracy for Diggs and Cooper? 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 2 flex. Running backs are Kyron, Corum, Mason, Garindo, CMC, Chubbs. Wide receivers are Higgins, Waddle, Downs, BTJ, and Bub." I had Rice and rip to Rice. And you had your team was really good before that. So you also have, of course, I'm guessing Brown. See, Chase Brown's on the high. What I love, Brown and Tyrone Tracy are both running backs that I predicted at the very beginning of the season to win the starting job before the end of the year. And we're seeing that come to fruition now a little bit. Diggs, even though I have Stephon Diggs in some of my leagues, I'm a little scared about him. I think Chase Brown's going to continue to put up numbers. Let me see your wide receivers: Higgins, Waddle, Downs, BT. Man, yeah, you do need like a little bit of upgrade. And I've been thinking Cooper Kupp could be a trade target if the Rams are sellers here at the trade deadline. And like case in point, can you imagine if Cooper Kupp went to, who's looking for a wide receiver right now? Green Bay, for example. Or which that probably wouldn't happen because it's a NFC thing. Let me see here. I mean, Buffalo could still add pieces. Who's looking for wide receivers? I don't think it's Baltimore, even though Amari Cooper Cooper. I'm sorry. That's Diggs and Cooper. If that's Amari Cooper, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. You've got solid running backs. I would take that trade, Max, if I was you. Chase Brown's on the uprise. Tyrone Tracy's on the up. Diggs is wishy-washy. Cooper, if he gets traded, Amari Cooper has such huge upside now. Cooper's going to, I think, vault into a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy value here, moving to the Bills. So with that being said, just Waddle, unless they make a move at quarterback, Waddle's got such low. Higgins is a 2-3 wide receiver. Downs just depends on the quarterback play, but I love Downs. BTJ, I think, is actually the number 1 wide receiver down in Jacksonville now. I love him. And Bub down there in New Orleans is one of the rising trending stars. But with with your wide receivers, I think what you want is more security. Um, Chubb's gonna get worked back. Gosh. I wish you didn't have to send Chase Brown. I would try just for one of those guys. I would try to get Amari Cooper and see if you can just trade him one of those two running backs. Maybe you have a tight end that you're not or something like I that's tough. I wouldn't be 100%. I think you could get by with Cooper and Higgins and then work in a third guy. I don't think you need Biggs and Cooper. I would make the move just for Cooper, in my opinion. Because Chase Brown's super high right now. Tyrone Tracy by the end of the season might be a dog. So if you could do like Chase Brown for Amari Cooper all day, be even better if you could do Tyrone Tracy for Cooper. But I would try Tyrone and maybe wiggle something else in there, try to get his interest. You could maybe throw Tyrone Tracy and Bubs for Cooper. So you're giving him a piece to replace with possibly maybe an upgrade or a deep piece, you know. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't realize, man, who you got starting as your wide receivers. Oh, my God. You're going to sub out Deontay probably for, man, it's going to be hard to beat you this week. It's going to be really hard to beat you. Green Bay, though, like I said, they're in the market for potentially a wide receiver. Houston apparently needs some help on the interior of their offensive line. They could be hiring someone like the Browns' Maurice Hurst. I think we're going to see a couple guys moved here at the trade deadline that aren't as big of names as like Amari Cooper, you know, and Davante Adams, but they're going to be absolute difference makers. The Jacksonville Jaguars could be in sell mode. They have Cam Robinson at tackle, Andrew Cisco and Brandon Sheriff. So if they've got some offensive line guys, like Brandon Sheriff could be an interior offensive line that's, you know, moved here at the trade deadline. I know the Seattle Seahawks are looking for tackle and guard help. The Houston Texans are looking for tackle and guard help. The 49ers could use a little bit on the left side. Pooney's playing outstanding. But there's a couple teams that could be looking at offensive linemen. And mark my words, some of these offensive lineman trades that we might see at the trade deadline, Cooper Kupp to Atlanta, that would be a huge one. Huge. And yeah, can you imagine if they added another piece and the Bills were just super aggressive and went and got another one? But I think Cooper Kupp is someone for if I'm a GM that needs a wide receiver, just like a lot of teams are calling the Titans for DeAndre Hopkins, I'd be calling the Rams for Kupp right now. And yeah, you are absolutely loaded right now. Tony says, do you have a favorite super deep cut 5% roster player you really like? Ooh, that's a good one. Let me see, a 5% roster type of guy. I might actually have one on my other team. Oh my God, all of a sudden my stomach just dropped out. I'm so hungry. For those that don't know, I'm like trying to get back in football shape too. I used to play a little bit of semi-pro tight end and linebacker. I measure about the same measurables as Isaiah Likely and Kyle Van Noy. So I'm about the size now of a tight end and linebacker in the NFL. 6'3", about 230 currently. You know, pretty big arms and legs too. But I've been trying to put on muscle and get back into playing shape. But I am consuming probably less than 2,000 calories a day, and did a calorie conversion thing the other day. I need to be just maintaining my 230-pound size. I need like 3,400 calories a day, and I am consuming probably less than 2,000. So I'm in like a 1,400 calorie deficit now for the past few weeks, and I am so struggling to eat, like just get enough food. And like, God, dude, my stomach just bottomed out, and I'm dying and hungry now. But I'm thinking about buying some just like some mass gain or some like those calorie shakes basically just to get my calorie count up. But super deep. Let me see here. I might have one of those guys on my other team. I don't right now. Super deep. Oh, I got one for you. Tony. Kimani Vidal. There's a name for you. Kimani Vidal, Dylan Lobb. Here, hold on. Let's go find my running backs. These are some of my guys that I featured in my draft special that found teams. Oh, actually, I do have another guy here. Audric Estime, rostered on 6% right now, started only in 1. Finally, he's back. He had some injuries. He had a week 1 in ankle injury. He had 2 rushes for 13 yards in the game. The running game in Denver hasn't been great. He's behind Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. But this kid is the real deal. Don't get it twisted. And if the running game doesn't get started in Denver, like I said, he wasn't healthy. He had 2 attempts in week 1 for 14 yards. He had 2 attempts for 13 yards. Only limited action, but the dude's averaging 7 yards a carry. That's what you want. So, Tony, this is one of my deep sleeper guys right now. Let me see. Am I going to add him in this league maybe, actually? I think I need to add him in my other team. Give me one moment here. Running back. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I got to find him. There he is. Games are starting soon. Oh, I got to get my linebacker in before I end up in trouble here. Sorry, give me 1 second. I got to move a player into my starting lineup, and then we'll get to the other 2 players that I want to talk about. Team, TJ Edwards. For Ivan Pace. Sorry, the Chicago game tonight, I think. I just got a notification. So this is one of my guys, Tony, high up on Audric Estime, but we're not done. I'm going to give you 3 more guys or 2 more guys. There he is, Dylan Lobb. So he lost a fumble on his first NFL carry, which is not going to look good for him. Yeah, and he got benched, but just because Zamir's not getting it done, Addison's not getting it done, Lobb has special teams potential, and next up, Zamir Abdullah. Just the fumble really hurt him. Rostered 3%, started in 1%. Like I said, dude, if he hadn't fumbled, he'd had a shot. He really needed to not fumble. And let's go find my final guy, Kimani Vidal, who's actually on Spongy's team now. So Spongy picked him up. So he had a 13-point game, rostered 22%, started in 2. He is now technically with Gus Edwards on IR, the second running back on that team. He ran for 11 yards on 4 carries, caught 2 of 2 for 40 yards and a touchdown, including that 38-yard one. Again, really high on Kimani Vidal, featured him on my draft special. 5'8", 215. I love those guys that are a little smaller, that are still at 200 pounds or heavier, that can still hit a 4.5 speed. Kamani's one of those guys. I absolutely loved what I saw out of Troy. He was one of my bang the table guys in the draft process. And so there you go. That's my 3 for you, Tony. 3 guys that are rostered like 20% or lower. 49ers media says we need a defensive, and that's actually 49ers. You're right. We were actually, I don't think you were here when we were talking about it earlier. Mark Sarith, or whatever his name is, and Brian Baldinger on NFL Daily were talking about it. The 49ers defensive line, especially post Hargrave IR injury, which, I think even before, other than Bosa, Nick Bosa, that defensive line has taken a huge step backwards. And defensive line and possibly linebacker till you get your Greenlaw back is, one of the things you might be looking at here. Tony says, did my super deep cut question get you hungry? It did, man. It got my brain churning. I'm like, oh, draft special. And I actually had we started this stream earlier and my PC crashed. So I had to like restart my PC and get it all going and stuff. Yeah, but and Captain says Ricky Pearsall, because when he comes back, he's going to get tons of looks. He might. And I agree. Tony, if you don't know, I'm a huge draft guy. Every year for the past 2 years now, I've done a draft special where I specifically focus on third round guys and lower. So I go and try to find 5 gems at every position group that are predicted usually to go third round or later. And man, holy crap, have my and if you're new to the channel, I literally left Disneyland in 2008 in high school to go back to my room and watch the draft, my grad night in high school. I love the draft. One of my dreams is to be an NFL scout. It's just, I don't have the education. I don't currently have the experience. And I'm a 34-year-old man. I don't really have 20 years to get started right now. 20 years to then maybe get my foot in the door and get some type of even reputable pay. I kind of need a more income now. So that's one of the reasons I actually started my draft specials. And man, if you haven't gone and seen my draft specials last year, I've been talking about it on Twitter. I nailed my draft special almost at every position group. And even right now, I actually did a little follow-up earlier on PFF tracking, because you can track by draft class year. And my PFF class from last year is, again, performing really well. And this year's, again, looking pretty good as well. So Tony says, I'm a Patriots fan. Oh, dude, my heart goes out to you, Tony. Some of my best friends are Patriots fans. My stepdad, who passed away last year, was a diehard, like burn jerseys type of Patriot fan. So, I got a little soft spot in my heart for Patriot fans and everything going on with them. Tony says, nah, they won enough when I was young. We're good. I like that attitude, though. Let me see here, though. Oh, yeah, I got a few more guys buy and sell at trade deadline. So Chiefs are looking for a wide receiver. Don't be surprised if the Chiefs don't, go get a guy. A lot of people say they wanted Amari Cooper to go to Chiefs. The entire league was like, please don't let Amari Cooper go to the Chiefs. But the Chiefs could be looking at Cooper Kupp, who's not in their division. They could be looking at DeAndre Hopkins, but DeAndre being in the division or in the AFC, less likely. But my God, can you see Cooper Kupp going to the Chiefs and how ridiculous that would be? The Raiders, of course, are sellers. They've already made the move for Davante Adams. Max Crosby might be the next guy to go. The Rams, again, could be sellers, like I'm mentioning. Another guy to keep an eye on, Tre'Davious White, their cornerback that they brought in, could be an obvious trade candidate. And then they had a tackle, Joe Noteboom, who I think's on injury, though. He's a pending free agent, could be moved as well. Of course, Minnesota Vikings hold, Miami Dolphins hold. Patriots are looking like potential sellers. They've got guys like Dietrich Wise Jr., who I think is projected to be a free agent. No, that's Oosh, who's supposed to be a free agent. But they've got some edge defenders or the guys on the defensive side of the ball that they could move before the trade deadline to prepare for next year. KP says, Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers at flex change. Oh, dude, Amari Cooper, man, if he's starting. But also, Jacoby Myers now is basically number 1 wide receiver for Oakland. Aiden McConnell taking over the quarterback job as well. He does throw a really good deep ball, but if Amari's on any type of page with Josh Allen, Amari Cooper was having 12 targets a game, but led the league in uncatchable targets. So just Deshaun and the offense weren't getting the ball to him. He's going to be a monster on the Bills. And if you've got Amari Cooper, chef kiss, you just got tremendous fantasy value. 49er says, I hope to see Tetra McMillan doesn't end up with the Pats. Oh, my God. I know, right? Like, that would be ridiculous. They've got to get some offensive line help, though. Oh, 49er says, I'm about to throw up with you saying that about Cup going to the Chiefs. That's what I'm saying. Either way, DeAndre Hopkins or Cooper Kupp on the Chiefs makes me feel disgusting. KP says, I just traded Dobbins, Garrett Wilson, and Puka Nacua for Mooney, Neighbors, and Brees. That's not a bad trade. Brees and Dobbins, tit for tat. Dobbins, of course, has a little bit of injury history. Brees been more healthy this year. Garrett Wilson, while is going to lose a little bit of fantasy value, I think actually he's still just going to be very stable. I think the Jets are good for at least 2 passing touchdowns a game, more than likely 3 now. But you can basically give 1 to Davante and 1 to Wilson, I feel like, a game. Puka Nacua, and Mooney actually has been like that good deep threat. He wasn't bad in Chicago, and coming to Atlanta, he's looking like, that real deep threat type of guy. Neighbors, of course, is just absolute wide receiver 1 over there. So, yeah. Chris Beard says, would you trade Amon St. Brown for Chase Brown? And ooh, I actually haven't been paying much attention to Puka since he's not on my teams. No, oops. Might help if I spell correctly. Oh, I'm like, why is he not coming up? I've got running backs. I'm like, so he's still on IR, will not practice this week, later in the season. I don't see the rush to bring Puka back. They're really enjoying letting guys like Whittington, Tutu Atwell get the snaps. That's tough. It depends if you really need the running back help, to be honest with you, and how your current wide receiver room. Of course, Chase Brown is absolutely taking over that running back room like we predicted at the beginning of the season. So it kind of depends on the rest of your room. Lapsky, wide receivers available. McLeod, Bateman, Gabe, Leggett, Ridley, Elijah. Okay, so you got a not too deep of a league if you got all these guys here, and that's your team. And I'm sorry, Streamlabs yelled at you. You're not posting a link. Yeah. It sees all the dots and stuff and thinks it's Did you have a question with that? I see wide receivers available, so I'm guessing you're looking to try to pick up a wide receiver. Let's see here. Starters. CeeDee Lamb, Higgins, Wandale, Devonta. See, you probably need to pick up one. You got great running backs with Henry and Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson coming back healthy. Nico on IR. So, yeah, I feel like you almost need you need backup running back, and then you need a little bit of wide receiver help, but not really. You're kind of good with CeeDee and Devonta. Pretty solid team, though. Tony says, I'd go with Chase Brown, Puka's side. Ooh. I still feel bad about training a Kane and Zach Moss at the peak of their values for. Oh, I know, right? With Kyron coming back and everything. And like I told everyone, Zach Moss was going to lose that job. Chase Brown was the better running back, but it was just the coaching staff giving the veteran every chance to hold on to that job. Yeah, don't worry. Screw Streamlabs, man. Don't let Streamlabs yell at y'all. Streamlabs be tripping. Jason and I are about to go live. Have a great stream. Later, 49er. Have a good stream, my guy. Okay, so dropping Wicks for one of those. So you're going to drop the Dontavion Wicks for one of those. The passing game, Ridley saw a bunch of targets, but they were bad targets and really bad throws. Vele at one point was 88. Trey Tucker's on the rise. Pierce up and down, depends on the quarterback. Eosebis is the constant wide receiver 3 over there. Quentin Johnson's nothing. Gabe Davis saw a good week last week, 2 touchdowns, but will it continue? That's really tough, Lapsky, by the way. I think Keon Coleman's going to be better now that he's wide receiver 2 and not it's going to take pressure off of him. He might see some better looks. But Gabe Davis is looking like a better wide receiver out there than Christian Kirk and a clear red zone target for but Gabe Davis and Keon Coleman are both wide receiver 2. So it's which wide receiver 2 would you rather take? Eosivas being wide receiver 3. I really feel like I would take Keon Coleman. I think he's going to thrive more as wide receiver 2. Gabe Davis might have just been a one shot, and BTJ is the better wide receiver out there. That would be my personal opinion on it. Tony says, are there any waiver wire picks others are high on that you aren't for this week? Oh, that's another great question, by the way. So we can go to the trending here. Trending up players. Brandon McManus, not high on that one. Davante Vela, I had him at the beginning of the season when he had that blowout. I think he had some injuries, or we know he was healthy scratches, but he came back. He had high targets, so he's got the high target count, but he just disappeared. Maybe I'm not as high on Vele, but maybe they're just making it work. I don't know. There's not a lot of guys like I'm super high on. Maybe the Bub Means thing. Let's take a look here. I mean, he's basically wide receiver number 1 out there now. He had a 15-point game. I'd say it's got to be Bub Means. Like, not that I don't like him, but just I feel like teams might be able to game plan better for him now. And Tampa, let me double check here. Yeah, I'd say it's got to be Bub Memes. Trey says, pop Douglas or Sutton in the flex? Ooh, that's a good question, too. Y'all got such great questions today, and I love that y'all bring the good questions. Let's see. So, Demario Douglas getting good targets. He's had 9 targets in 3 of the last 4 games. That's good numbers. Drake May coming back in. So I originally was high on Sutton, but if I have a PFFs like must sits, sits and starts of the week, basically. Let me pull it back up again here. Fantasy. Where the hell did it go? There we are. So I want to pull up the actual what they're talking about for that Cortland Sutton thing. So for the wide receivers, it says to sit Cortland Sutton. Let's hear. Sutton has been held under 70-yard receivings in each game this season. He was targeted on 24.6% of his routes over the first 4 weeks, but has fallen to 16.7% over the past 2 weeks as the Broncos' younger wide receivers have gotten more involved. The Broncos play the New Orleans Saints, who have given up a touchdown on only 2.3% of passing attempts against them, the third lowest rate in the NFL. So based on that, Trey, I would go ahead and start Demario Douglas over Sutton in this matchup. The Patriots, of course, are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me pull up my rant numbers there on that. Looking at total defense across the board, according to PFF, Jacksonville 26th in the league. They're struggling in coverage as well. They've got the 26th ranked coverage unit and 25th ranked pass rush. So definitely start Demario Douglas over Cortland Sutton. The Saints aren't giving up many passing touchdowns. So even if Sutton has some yards, he might not get the TD, which is not what you want. Tony says, to me, Bubs as wide receiver one is like Myers as wide receiver. And exactly, Tony. Thank you on that. Good player in a seemingly good spot, but crap wide receiver makes me run away. Exactly. Rattler's going to have some good rushing yards, though, so that will help his fantasy value. And no problem, Trey. I appreciate you for coming and giving me those great questions. It really does mean a lot to me. And I think we might, like I said, see some possible moves here at the trade deadline. I'm really excited for some of these moves here at the trade deadline. As like I said, I think we're going to see a few more here. Like we talked about, Rams might be sellers here. The Patriots might be sellers. Supposedly the Giants might be sellers as well. Apparently teams have been calling them about Darius Slayton and Azeez Ojulari. Jets, of course, buyers. They already went and bought Davante Adams. But this is actually, this is for my boy Sponge. Supposedly the Eagles are looking to be buyers, especially on the defensive side of the ball and at the linebacker position. They've been having some trouble with their linebacker play. And this current scenario has, and they say they might need another wide receiver 3, but I think that's overrated. Ernest Jones, the linebacker from Tennessee, I think would be an excellent addition to this Philly defensive front. Hold on. Thought I heard someone here, but Ernest Jones, I think, would be a great addition for them. Steelers could be a buy. They're talking about the Steelers could go sign Tyler Boyd out of free agency, a former divisional rival. As for the Niners, what was really interesting is actually it said the Niners might be in look of a safety, which I thought was really weird because they're loaded at safety, mentioning Xavier Woods. Seattle Seahawks, of course, looking for tackle help. Cam Robinson, the tackle of the Jaguars, as we mentioned earlier, probably their trade candidate. Buccaneers are looking to buy as well a little bit. They need some defensive line help. They could be looking at Sebastian Joseph Day, who's a really good run defender from the Titans as well. Titans, though, have DeAndre Hopkins, Ernest Jones, Tyler Boyd. A lot of guys could be moved off to Seattle. And then, of course, the Commanders are looking to buy. They need some cornerback help. Tre'Davious White from the Rams could be what the Washington Commanders are looking at. Tony says, sometimes all I want is one more bench spot. No one else gets one, though. Oh, dude, Tony, I feel you on that, man. I love being able to roster some players that, like, I think I can take a chance on and just sit on for a while. I'm excited about it. Man, I'm looking at some of these free agents, too, in next year's draft. So next year's top 5 free agents: Javon Holland, safety of Miami; T. Higgins, possibly wide receiver, Cincinnati; Trey Smith, guard of Kansas City; Ronnie Stanley, tackle for the Ravens; Chris Godwin, wide receiver of the Buccaneers. And it just keeps going, man. There are going to be some really good players in this free agency next year. I'd be excited for, at least. I mean, maybe about 20 players. 15 players I'm excited for in the top of that free agent class. They're going to list like 25 guys, but the top 15 for me into the 25 free agent class, looking pretty good. But all right, guys, with that, Thursday night football's getting ready to come up here in about 20, 30 minutes or so. I hope everyone gets to enjoy that game. We got the trusty calendar here. So I got all my stuff lined up here. Let's talk about what we got coming up here on the week before we get out of here.
So, of course, we're finishing up fantasy football today. Jackbox Gaming, for those that are new here to the channel, Jackbox Gaming will be starting an hour earlier on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jackbox Games is an adult comedy style show where we sit back with a bunch of our friends and fellow content creators. We sit back, we have an adult beverage, sipping on some Crown and Coke, and just play some games that even the crowd in my chat can not only join the games, but join as audience members to influence the game. It's always a fun time. Again, Jackbox Games every Friday night at 9 p.m., now starting an hour earlier Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the second game we are covering this week is actually going to be Kansas City versus the San Francisco 49ers, Sunday afternoon football. 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be our first game we're covering this weekend. That's a potential Super Bowl preview. It's a Super Bowl rematch, and it's a good preview of teams that we might play in the Super Bowl and in the AFC Championship. Of course, we cover every Baltimore game live. My beautiful, wonderful, amazing girlfriend was actually debating buying me tickets because Baltimore is traveling here to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this Monday at Monday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I told her, I was like, my love, I love that you would want to do this for me. I love that you want to, buy these tickets, but I'm not working right now. Like, I don't have money for this. I feel bad you spending money on this when there's other things, that's going to be that we could spend this money on. Like, there's things that I know you want and want to go do that I would rather spend this money on. So you got to love how much, she wanted to buy those tickets for me. But we'll be covering that game live. We're down here in Fort Myers, Florida, so about 2 hours down the road from where that game's happening. Then, of course, Wednesday, we'll be back with Corey Davis Pick'ems at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where we honor our late, great friend, Corey Davis, our 49er friend who used to hold a lot of just hangout shows, but every week, like ESPN Pick'em style with a bunch of the 49er content creators. So we honor him every Wednesday with a bunch of those guys, continuing the legacy of the Pick'ems. And then, of course, next week, 5 p.m. Standard Time at Eastern Standard Time, as usual, for fantasy football. We really appreciate every single one of y'all and the questions that y'all brought for fantasy football Thursday. Look forward. We're going to try to do more content, man. I'm trying to do more shorts. I'm trying to figure out. I'm throwing this idea around right now, potentially. I'd have to get a laptop to make it work correctly. But I'm throwing the idea around of seeing maybe like a local sports bar that shows the games or something would allow me to come set up like a booth and stream live from the bar, basically, and talk to fans like weekly, like basically be able to have a fan that wants to just sit down in a chair beside me and, all right, let's talk about the game. Let's pull up numbers. What's going on, man? Like, and do like a live stream from the bar. Like from Buffalo Wild Wings. I think it would be super cool. But of course, I have to get approval from the managers and stuff like that. And, I view it as a marketing tool that adds value to their thing. And of course, I'm going to eat food and do stuff. And I just feel like it would bring a fun atmosphere. But all right, with that, guys, much love. Again, thank you to every single one of y'all who came to hang out with us here today. With that, Darwin's out. I'll see y'all tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Jackbox Games.